Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
What's up? What's up? How are you doing?
What's up?
What's going on? Well, everyone, we have very, very special guests joining us today. We have the incredible TillaVision and Wrld, aka Ben, joining us on the stream. They just had an awesome drop that launched on Monday on crypto.com. Really awesome comic drop. So we're excited to get into it. It's still live until, I believe, Sunday night. So still a chance to check it out. But yeah, really excited to chop it up with you guys and learn more about your backgrounds and more about the drop itself and, you know, everything else you guys are working on.
Thanks so much. Happy to be here, Spencer, Sean, and Comics and Crypto guys. I'm TillaVision. This is my guy, Wrld. We're happy to be here to talk about our new drop.
Yeah, awesome. But before we do that, we like to get a little personal and ask. Actually, did we lose Wrld?
We did. We'll jump back in. There he is.
All right. Sorry about that. Was it my internet? Am I bad interneting?
I think you're good. I think you're good,
All
man. You seem clear.
Good. It's on my phone, which usually is a better way to do this. So anyway.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, we're curious. Do you guys consider yourself collectors? And if so, what do you guys collect?
That's a good question. Tilla, you want to take it away, or I'll follow up on you?
I do not consider myself a collector. I have too much respect for collectors to call myself a collector. I just have a couple things that I like. That's it, you know? But as far as like a serious collection, I don't think I have. I'm a creator. I'm trying to create stuff for people to collect and for people to enjoy. And I love things though, and I think that I would like to collect something, but you know, I just have a couple things that I like.
Nice. So what are a couple of your favorite things you got?
Oh, the few things that I have, you know, the comics that I did grow up with, I freaking love the ones that I kept. Like, you know, I have my Wildcats comics, I have all my Punisher comics, I have all my you know, just random books I've picked up, like, you know, Frank Miller 300 is like a book that I freaking love. You know, just a bunch, and those aren't like the cool books. Like, you know, collectors would be like, oh, I got the Frank Miller like super cool, you know, things, and I just have the super basic ass selections, but they're important to me. So Scott McCloud, the comics, making comics,
understanding and making
comics, like all the Scott McCloud stuff. I love the Marvel Way, making comics the Marvel Way. That book, you know, is like all the to do, like how to make comics book. I'm really into those.
Nice.
And
it's almost like a little bit more pure than like normal collectors, because these are things that you actually used and actually enjoyed. Rather, we just buy things and we just put it up on our wall and look at it and we never use it. You know.
I don't have that. I don't have any of that stuff. Even my own things. I don't have any of my own stuff that I make. I make it and then it goes out into the world. I don't even collect my own stuff. So, you know, it's I enjoy it while I have it, but you know, I've come to meet some collectors recently, though. That's, you know, our partner Vinny, who connected us all here. Vinny is a very serious collector. He's a partner at Blank Canvas. So that's how we balance each other, is, you know, he knows the whole collector community. I know how to be an amazing creator, and I know lots of creators, and we're making things. And then he's kind of informing me about what's going on in the collector world. And, you know, we have a great partnership there because we have those two perspectives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what about you, Wrld?
Yeah. So you know, it's funny. So I was huge into collecting Joker toys. As I see your Joker behind you, and I have like this full, like from Blockbuster. I don't know if you remember the Heath Ledger full size pop up. Like I have that cardboard cutout in my nerd closet.
Oh, cool.
Because it just doesn't have place to go right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like huge into collecting Joker toys, anything Joker. I'm a huge fan of the Joker. And then, you know, currently, like what I've been collecting are tarot card decks. I know that sounds very, you know, because I've been reading tarot since I was very young, like 11, and now I'm teaching workshops on it, and I've been very deep in the space of tarot. But I also love to collect the cards. When I see a deck that really speaks to me, I collect it. You know, sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I won't, but for the most part, like, you know, I find those things that, you know, to Tilla's point, you know, have some sort of resonance and make me feel like, all right, this is cool. I'm into this. I'm vibing with it. So that's really like my side of the collecting, you know, it was, and it's funny. So my creative partner, similar to Tilla, you know, Taboo from the Peas, Tab is the biggest collector, like toys. His toy collection is just like bar none. He actually sold off some of it over to the We Can Be Heroes guys, or it's like, oh, you know, you can buy it there because he just had so much. So, you know, it's funny, like talking to, you know, someone who like Tab is like such a hardcore collector. He introduced me to Sideshow folks. I worked with Sideshow actually on putting strategy together for an NFT project and a drop that we were looking to do. So, you know, very much in the space. But yeah, I mean, my thing right now that I'm collecting are tarot cards. So it's a very random, weird collectible, I guess you could call it. But
it's cool, man.
You know,
but it's something you actually use. So that's great.
Yeah. What about you guys? What do you consider yourselves like the main collector of? Is it, or like, do you have like a, you know, specialty?
Yeah, I mean, I've been deep in the digital collectibles market since like 2017, 2018. So I just have thousands upon thousands of now probably worthless NFTs, but I still love them, and there's memories associated with them, and you know around the time collecting them and everything. So I just can't let them go. But yeah, we're really big into VHS actually. You know, comics too, of course, but yeah, VHS recently we've gotten super into them. See if there's any cool ones behind me over here.
Oh, sick! Yeah, is that the first film?
Yeah, because it has this Jaws. Yeah,
Jaws over here.
That's how you identify the first print for VHS for the Turtle films, and we like at least he signed it. It was really cool. Yeah, so yeah, these cases are amazing. Big shout out to Rewind Grading. These cases are awesome. You can drive a truck over these things. No joke.
Yeah. Yeah, do a lot of like cassettes, CDs, things like that. Getting into music recently too. So
that's sick.
Yeah, still media market, man. Who would have thought?
You know, it's funny. There's a shop. Are you in LA, Sean? Are you? So do you know we Be Kind Video over on Magnolia? Matthew over there. That's where that's like a hub of VHS collecting. Those guys like turn around. No, in LA, in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, in Burbank, on Magnolia, Be Kind Video. It's like it's an old school VHS, DVD, Blu-ray rental place, but he sells. But he just turns around VHS because that's his like main business because so many people are into collecting it. So anyway, but it was funny you brought up the Ninja Turtles because I was family friends with Steve Barron who directed that. And I didn't know until like I was at Comic-Con. I was like, yeah, I'm here for the Ninja Turtles like panel. This was like years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, he's straight. He's directing the first movie, which is like a childhood, like I think for all of us growing up with that freaking movie. It's so good.
It was a masterpiece, man. And the way they were made it really dark and edgy, I was really yeah.
We always bring this up whenever Ninja Turtles and going to see it at the theater comes up. Did anybody else have a live ninja performance before their Ninja Turtles film experience?
No.
What? No.
I talked to like two other people that were both like, they did that at my theater too. And
really?
Our theater, they had like two ninjas come out in front and do like a live ninja thing in front of the audience before the show.
That's awesome.
And
so cool.
Someone else said that they had that same thing. And so I was like, oh, that must have been a campaign that they were running. Like, you know, they contacted the local karate, you know, institute
dojo.
And then, brought somebody out. So it's pretty cool. But
that's awesome.
They don't do it like that anymore.
Yeah.
We've had Kevin Eastman sign a few of our sealed tapes, and it's funny. Like the first time he's just like, what the heck is this? Like, you guys are getting VHS signed? What's wrong? And like we've done it a couple times now because he goes to like most of the Comic-Cons, and like the last time he like made a joke because he's seen us a couple times now, and he's like, you want me to take this wrapping off right before I sign it? And he like pretends to like rip it off.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Well, we're really excited to dive into Blank Canvas today. And before we talk about that, I'd love for our audience to get more of a background of both of you guys as artists, and what led you to the Web3 space. Maybe Tilla, we can start with you.
Yeah, for sure. All I've ever wanted in my life was to be an artist. That's it. It was like in my brain, like put in my brain. I would sit by my dad, who was an architect, while he's drawing on his, drawing table. I'm right next to him drawing, and I was just like, I want to be an artist. I want to be an artist. And then I was like, I want to be a comic artist. I want to be an animator. And then I was like, wait, they don't make any money. No, I can't be that. And that was in my brain, was just like, oh, I can't do that because they don't make any money. And so I was like, okay, what else am I going to do? I'll become a hip hop producer because they make lots of money. And that's what I did. I started producing music and DJing, and I produced for a bunch of people. The first artist I ever produced for was Kid Cudi, and that was in a studio in a mall in Cleveland, Ohio. And he wasn't going by Kid
This
Cudi.
is back in the mixtape days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixtapes were my life for about 15 years.
That's awesome, man.
Because, not only, did I record Kid Cudi's demo, and then that led me to recording with other people like 50 Cent and Scarface, and remixing for Kanye and remixing for Adele and all these different people. Also, one of my high school friends launched a website called Live Mixtapes. If you've ever heard of livemixtapes.com, if you're a West Coast guy.
I was a Dat Piff guy.
Okay, yeah. Well, there you have it, Yeah. But, if you were Cleveland, Atlanta, Live Mixtapes was popping in these areas, and, East Coast and Midwest. And so I joined on with that company, and I was with them for 8 years, and I helped them create digital content for their mixtape releases. So if it was Rick Ross or Lil Wayne or whoever, I was making their mixtape promotion that they were putting on their social media. And one time I created a trailer for Lil Wayne for, I can't remember which mixtape it was that came out, but I sent it to them for approval, and he just sent out my preview link, and then I started getting all these followers, and I was like, that wasn't the actual link to send out. But anyway, funny stuff like that happens all the time. So I have one YouTube account with just 500 followers just from Lil Wayne posting my one test trailer. But from doing that, I kind of learned how to the professional world of design and all of this, just kind of because I was doing these things by default. I was the only person on Live Mixtape staff who knew how to use all this software. So I kind of went to design school through that, and taught me everything. And then when NFTs started becoming a thing in 2020, I saw the 3D art was very popular with NFTs first. It was kind of if it's, I guess people thought that there was more value or something in 3D. And then also, or it gave that appearance to just I guess regular people, but it was also new and exciting to have this, 3D tools available to anybody, because normally that was kind of just big studios, animation studios like Pixar, they do animation. And then in 2010, I started teaching myself these 3D software things, and it was like, wait a second, I can do 3D animation. I can do that for these clients that I'm working with. So I started doing that for DJ Khaled. I started getting phone calls because I would be posting stuff to my Instagram. The first big one was a Nipsey Hussle post. I did this Nipsey Hussle tribute, and that went kind of viral. It's still one of my most popular posts on Instagram. And I just started getting a lot of phone calls from that. People say, oh, I want you to do something like that. And that led to me creating stage visuals for, Juice Wrld. So I did all Juice Wrld's tours. I did all of his stage visuals. I worked with Pop Smoke and DJ Khaled and Drake creating their lyric videos. But, you know, I saw in the crypto world and the NFTs, this similar kind of art becoming very popular. So for me, it was a no brainer coming from the mixtape world. I'm like, oh, NFTs are my mixtape. You know, I'm not a hip hop artist outside of music production, but in the NFT world, I am like the artist. And that was very exciting for me and all of my, you know, designer friends who were kind of like creating art for the music people. Is like all of a sudden the spotlight was shifted and said, oh, who's doing all this cool art? And NFTs became our home. And that got me into Web3 because it seemed like there was more opportunity there, and I was being recognized for my work, and I could be treated equal to the artists that I was collaborating with, as opposed to in the music industry where they just want, you know, they just want to play. The music artist is the star. Everybody else just gets, you know, kind of like flat fee, you know, like, and there's no real opportunity for royalties and really making money. And I saw that opportunity in NFTs, and I experienced it. I got in there. I mean, my first drop that I did was with Chief Keef. I got on the phone. I started calling all my music industry friends and saying there's this new cool thing. It's called NFTs. You're going to be able to do all this cool stuff with it. And, you know, you guys should do your research and get in on this because it's new and exciting, and this is the future. So Sway Lee, I did NFT with Sway Lee that we put out on Super Rare. I did the Death Row collection, the 30-year anniversary Death Row collection, which I also created a virtual website for. So there was all these different collaborations and just went all in, and I haven't really looked back since. So that's the short version.
What a journey. Yeah. For me, I didn't really know much about NFTs or Web3 until Spencer, almost 7-8 years ago. But he definitely started educating me about NFTs around 2017, 18. It wasn't until around 2020 it started to connect the dots. So it's amazing that you recognized the opportunity so quickly, and you just it's amazing.
Well, it was my friend Joey Fingers, who's a DJ that I grew up with, and we're best friends, and you know. He was following an artist that he was buying merch from. And the artist was Ferocious. So but it's like free NFTs. Like he's just a fan of Ferocious art and in contact with Ferocious. They're friends.
Wow.
So he sees Ferocious do this massive sale out of nowhere, and it was like $20,000 or something. And he called me up and he's like, yeah, you know that artist I like, Ferocious, they just dropped like, you know, a $20,000 thing, NFTs, like, let's connect you and you guys should do something. So I was talking to Ferocious, and we made a project together called The Floating Island. The Floating Island. And it's an island that's floating. And it was all 3D. It's an amazing project. But Ferocious just called it off at the last minute because, you know, they became famous, like
a little too big. Yeah,
they were just like, hey, let's get back to this, and then we never got back to it. So,
gotcha.
You know, but yeah, maybe we will get back to that someday. But like that was my entrance, was like Ferocious, just watching that ascent and how that worked out and following their lead.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember Jose Delbo, or if you know who Jose Delbo is, but big comic book artist. He's unfortunately just passed away in the beginning of this year, but he was 90 years old and had like 7 decades of experience with like all the big comic publishers. He worked with Marvel and DC. He like did like some of the biggest like Transformers covers and like the biggest like Wonder Woman covers. But yeah, so he made the transition into the comic books, or from comic books into the NFT space in like that same time, like, you know, kind of 2020, 2021. And basically, you know, the company I work with outside of this is called Apollo Entertainment. And, you know, we kind of managed his career and through all that. And it was incredible. You know, he made okay money in the, you know, traditional comic space. But like at that point in his life, like he's in his 80s, he's basically just making money from going to shows and doing signings and sketches and stuff like that. But he had this whole opportunity to like kind of just like reinvigorate his career, and went to making millions within like a matter of months. And it was just incredible to see, you know, somebody of his stature and also just like his age kind of adapt to the technology and, yeah, just incredible to see, how some of these artists have made their entrance into the space and made waves that way. Yeah, but yeah, if you don't know Jose, definitely check him out. He's the,
I do.
You do know him, yeah.
I can't believe you were behind that, because I watched that all happening. So just realizing, putting those dots together is crazy, because that was a huge inspiration.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because it was like, it was somebody. The whole thing about NFTs is authenticity. And, when I see that artist, I was like, oh, this is the authentic person. I'm somebody trying to get into comics and bring it here. This guy deserves it. Like, he is kind of the person, the proper representation for this, and then lead the way for the rest of us. But like, he was kind of one of the success stories we saw, like right off the bat. They got the rest of us excited, like, oh man, comics is here. It's already there. So that's insane that you were a part of that.
Yeah, it was cool. And then DC came in with their cease and desist letters or whatever, and got all angry about people using their art without their permission, and rest is history. So
it was a battle. It still is a battle. But I did a deal with an unnamed artist, or I won't say the name, but like, it was an A-list artist, huge artist, a deceased artist, so they're no longer with us. I was working with their family to release a NFT on Nifty Gateway right when Nifty was popping. Like, Beeple just did his big drop that was like, Nifty Gateway and Beeple. And then this was like 3 or 4 weeks after. So I've got this artist, and I'm like, and their family, and I'm ready to do the art. And the label stepped in, because they realized that, I wanted 50. I didn't want 50%. I wanted like 40% of the drop or something. Because it was like, that was the deal. It was like, the music artist gets 50% and the artist gets 50%. That's like kind of how it was working. And that's what we were so excited about, because we're used to just like, be happy with this. So it was all of a sudden, oh, we get to share royalties, and actually we're treated as an equal in this space. Like, maybe not in the art world or in the music world, but in this space, we're treated as an equal. Awesome. The label fought me so hard. They tried to go around me to Nifty Gateway to cut me out of the deal. And I talked to Nifty Gateway, and they said we wouldn't even accept their offer, because we do fair splits with the artists. It was the first time a platform had my back ever.
That's awesome.
And like, much respect to them for that. That's why I always
love the Nifty Gateway guys. Yeah, they do some good work. Yeah, them and Maker's Place, they're the two that have kind of held out through all this time, and they're still putting out great work.
But that artist fumbled $1 million bag, so oh well. But yeah. But we all have our battles. We've won and lost. So just another day.
B-roll. Yeah. What about you and your background as well?
Yeah. No, it's been a long journey. I started in New York in film. So my backstory is more on the film and television writing side. I mean, I went to school for writing and poetry, but I started out as a filmmaker when I was in my early 20s. I did a documentary on comic books. So it was called Sex, Lies, and Superheroes. And it's for free on Vimeo. We ended up the distribution deal never worked out. I was like, you know what, let's just put it up. Like, it was, but the interviews were incredible. It was like Frank Miller, Stan Lee, Jimmy Palmiotti, John Byrne, Chris Claremont. I mean, I met everybody when I was 21 going, oh my God, like going into Chris Claremont's brownstone in Brooklyn, being offered hazelnut coffee at the door from Chris and going, oh my God, I bought your very, like his Jim Lee, Chris Claremont X-Men #1 was like my very first comic I ever bought as a kid. Like, I've been, you get the 25 centers or whatever, the hand-me-downs, but that was like my prized possession. And as a collector too, it's just one of those things. But anyway, that was a really cool project. And, it really introduced me to the comic book world professionally, where I was always just a fan first, and went to Comic-Con in 2002. I want to say 2022. I'm like, no, it's 2002. It seems like forever ago. I still have my badge that says filmmaker. I was like, I need to, forever keep this, and it was really cool. It was really an exciting opportunity as a young filmmaker. We screened it in New York at the Film Anthology Archives. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I've made it. Like, wow, I made a movie. And now it's like, so we had an incredible team. I mean, I worked with this guy, Constantine, and, had a few other folks. And at that screening, I met Larry Cohen. So if like It's Alive, God Told Me To, the old school horror filmmaker, and Larry was there doing press for Phone Booth, which just was about to come out in 2002. So Larry and I met, and he was like, "Hey kid, I liked your movie. We should make a picture together." And at the time he's like in his probably late 60s, early 70s. And I'm like, "All right, man, cool. Like whatever. No one ever comes through on shit." But he ended up sending me 2 scripts. And again, I'm like still in college. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm moving to New York. So I moved because I was living in Jersey at the time, which is where I'm at right now. Was like, you know what, screw it. And I was working at the time in television. I was working on a show called Dating Story as an intern for this company called Bangin'. So I was like in the reality TV world, whatever. I was like, no, I'm going to go make movies. I'm a filmmaker. And there was a picture called Captivity, a script that he had written called Captivity, which ultimately, as you'll probably figure out, that was the Alicia Cuthbert film. Larry Cohen wrote it. I never got to make it. I had the whole, I had a team. He just couldn't get to New York. He was in LA. And I was like, screw this. I'm moving to LA. So I moved to LA. Been there 20 years. But, I mean, that was really the beginning of my journey as a storyteller and as a filmmaker, really getting in on that very indie maverick sort of mentality where it's like, yeah, we like the studios, but as long as they're just giving us money, but we don't want to, it's like that was Larry's mentality. Give me the money and I'll go make a picture kind of thing. So I always had this sort of like in the trenches, make shit, don't just take no for an answer, just keep going, because that's how he operated. So, as a mentor, that was really what I was instilled with as a young filmmaker. Then moved into the whole Hollywood business of, working in television and film and this and that. Documentaries always sort of have had a big part of my life. And the music world of things as well. And it's funny, like Till and I have a lot of crossover in music because, so in 2014, through a friend of mine who's an actress, I met will.i.am. And Will was like, hey, I've got this script I want to turn into a comic book. And he knew that I was in the comic space. At the time, I was working for a company, helping them develop their comic books into film and television. I did a cartoon with Titmouse Animation Studios called Grim Fairy Tales Animated that I produced with John Schnepp of Metalocalypse. So my background in animation, cartoons, so John and I did a Kickstarter. We raised, almost 190,000. So again, that very DIY sense of let's just go out and make shit. And how can we do it? All right, there's this new platform. This is 2011. Let's go and make this cartoon. So I had that cartoon under my belt. I produced, figured, was in that space. So Will was like, yo, I want to turn this into a graphic novel. Well, mind you, I'd never written a graphic novel. I read obviously thousands of them, and worked in developing, comic books into screenplays, into film, into cartoons, but I had never written a graphic novel. And I said, yeah, I got you, Will. We can do this. I put the team together, and which I did. I got the funding, went off. I hired an amazing team, an amazing art team, and then just started making this book. And we made the book. I turned it into Will, didn't really hear anything for a minute. And it was just one of those things of you know what? We all got paid, guys. I don't know if anything's ever going to happen. Maybe it's just going to sit on Will's. And we also did it in the process. We were doing a VR thing too with the Oculus. So I was working with his team on that. I was like, I don't know. I just don't think anything is going to happen. And I get this FaceTime from Will and he's like, yo, we got a publisher. And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you. Nah. All right, I'll tell you. He's like, it's Marvel. And I'm like, dude, what? Stop fucking with me. And it was Marvel. At the time I was working with Millennium Films, and Millennium, who I've been working with as an editor, because I'm also a film editor. And at that time, this is when I was getting into blockchain, and I was getting into that whole world of my girlfriend's leaving. Bye, honey.
Bye.
So so this is in 2017. So one of my friends and became partner at Millennium, we were looking to develop this project called Boyka Undisputed, the action movie. into a TV series. So at that time, we were working on that. We were looking to do it as an ICO. We were going to raise all our funding through doing a coin offering.
Oh, cool.
We made these tokens. We actually minted actual physical coins, like gold coins in the Bulgarian mint, because we had these relationships in Bulgaria. We made a comic book. The comic had AR. So I was taking all the stuff that I learned from the Masters of the Sun project and bringing it over into this project that we were going to do as NFTs. This is 2017. You know, an ICO. NFTs had just come out. I bought some crypto kitties. I should have bought crypto punks. What was I
Should
thinking?
have bought punks.
Like,
I also made the same mistake.
Dude,
yeah.
I was like, kitties.
I know.
Kitties are
I know.
cool.
I knew
Punks,
about
whatever.
the punks. I knew about the punks. I knew about the kitties, and I went for the kitties. Idiot.
Whatever. You know what? Like, it's do nuts.
Whatever.
So, you know, whatever. You look back and you're like, man, if only. But it was just one of those things where we were looking at it more as an experiment. We launched our own token called Control Chaos. I was throwing parties in Santa Monica. So this is all leading up to this whole like Marvel thing. But at that time, we had these tokens called Control Chaos coins. This is a crazy story. Somehow they picked up liquidity. I don't know, or they somehow I had $1 billion in my trust fund or my trust wallet at the time. It was the Satoshi wallet or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was insane. We were like, holy shit. But for us, it was more like, yo, let's teach people about crypto. Let's teach people.
Yeah.
So I would send people $1 million and be like, here you go. Here's $1 million. And it popped up in their account as $1 million. I was like, you can't do anything with it unless somebody actually really thinks that, you know, you can't buy it. But it looks cool. And teach other people how to do it, because we made these little business cards. You could scan the QR code, and it would take you to our wallet. I showed people, you know, we had this whole step breakdown. So we were looking more about the education of how you can utilize crypto, how you can look at NFTs, how they can be in-game objects. That was what we were looking at for the Millennium Project. And then at that time, then all of a sudden the Marvel shit happened. So Will was like, yo, blah, blah, we Marvel, da, da, da. Taboo was the one, and who now, like, Taboo is my creative partner in a lot of the Marvel stuff and a couple other things we have going on. But yeah, I mean, that was sort of my like weird sort of crypto and comics thing. Like we were doing this comic book at Millennium with this 8-page comic. I told Tilla, I'd forgotten about this. I got a stack of them in my nerd closet. And I'm like, oh man, I forgot. Because you could scan it. There was this whole like fight sequence that would pop up, and you were going to be able to collect these fighters and be able to fight on your stages. And we wanted to make these like little cards that you could put together, and then you would have a stage pop up, like a ring, and you could fight with your phone.
Man, you were just too early with all this stuff.
Way too
early. Like it's not the kind of stuff that's happening today. It's like
I saw Ben doing all this, and I thought the same thing. Like, because I didn't know Ben at that time, but I'm seeing him, and I'm like, who else is doing this? Like, I'm watching the product come out. Like, I saw that Masters of the Sun comic come out, and it was just like, this is insane. Like, yeah, it was just a wonder that I would actually get to meet the mind behind it, because at the time,
and we work together now.
Yeah, it was nuts. But like when it came out, it was insane. So I had the same reaction that you guys had, for sure. Continue, Ben. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Because I mean, you know, I've been very fortunate to be in these projects. Sadly, a lot of times they're ahead of the curve because we're thinking so far ahead, and we're thinking about like what all these potentials and possibilities can be. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, a lot of the tech is back then getting a wallet in 2017 was like freaking, you know, literally rocket science. You know, you tried to explain how to get a wallet, you know, anyway. So like all that, you know, and Coinbase was just really starting to become a lot more user friendly at that time, you know, getting Ethereum, whatever. So anyway, I mean, that then led me to Taboo, and Tab and I were like, yo, let's create stuff together. He being Native American and Mesoamerican, we wanted to do projects in that wheelhouse. And we ended up getting to do a 1-page with Marvel in the Marvel 1000 comic, which was amazing because like this is when I was going as Benjamin Jackendoff, my other moniker. And that was like underneath Chris Claremont. I'm like, holy shit, there's like Chris and there's my name. And this is so freaking cool. You know, like I'm, you know, like, you know, on the back of the Marvel 1000 comic going, okay, all right, check. You know, like I've done it. Like it's those life things where it's like, whatever, you know, it's not about making the money on it. It's just about doing those life checks. So then we got the opportunity to create a new Werewolf by Night. then Marvel just kept calling us. It was like, oh, we like that. So we became like the sort of parachute guys. You know, we got this project, we got the special op, go, boom. We want you to do like a new whatever, do some new Spider-Man shit. All right, cool. Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, boom. You know, oh, Echo's coming out. We need a Daredevil Echo thing. You know, we need, okay, all your directive is create a new villain and you've got 90 pages to do it. Go, boom. You know, so like that's been my experience with Marvel. It's like, you know, parachute in, come in and do some shit. And then, you know, that's what we do. And I mean, it's been an incredible experience. I mean, you know, and so grateful for Taboo, you know, and seeing my abilities as a writer and a creative to come in and work with him and really bring those, you know, those opportunities to life. Because when Marvel came, you know, he was there with Joe Quesada doing a podcast or whatever. And then that was how we kind of got in. He, like, Joe was like, oh, I'm going to introduce you to CB and Tom Brevoort and da-da-da. And then it was like, yeah, we got this Marvel 1000. Tom was like, yo, my partner, B. Earl, I need to get him in on the mix, da-da-da. So that was an amazing opportunity. And I've been very blessed. I mean, you know, Will giving me that shot, Tab being like, yo, I trust your writing. You could do this. And me being like, all right, you know, like I wrote the Masters of the Sun. That was cool. But like making new shit up for Marvel. All right, I'm in. Let's go. Yeah. But I mean, that's been really the journey and it's been really incredible. But, you know, what's interesting is, again, through music, Dimitri Vegas is a good friend. And he's the DJ, Dimitri and like Mike. So Dimitri hit me up, was like, because I've been spitting on Dimitri about NFT since 2017, 2018. We were talking, we were like, yo, music, NFTs, this is how you can put out albums, bro. Like, da-da-da. And he was like, I don't understand. And then all of a sudden he calls me up and is like, yo, and I think we did a clubhouse on NFTs, me and Dimitri. I brought him on to do a clubhouse. This is back when Clubhouse was like a thing, I guess, you know, during the pandemic.
Pre-spaces, yeah,
right, pre-spaces. So we did that, and he hits me up. He's like, yo, my label, we want to do some shit. We want to try some shit out. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, man, hit me up. Like, introduce me to these guys, whatever. And we did a project called the Chihuahuas on Solana. And sadly, it was like Ethereum gas was way too high. Solana was just starting. If we had done it on Ethereum, we probably sold out. But we did it on Solana. Again, too early. Solana was dope, but like, you know, and by the time we had built it and having the programmers and just dealing with all that shit, you didn't have a lot of people that knew Rust. So we were just dealing with a lot of those like early Solana headaches. This is 2021. We came out with the drop in November when it was like at $200 a pop. And it was one soul to buy a Chihuahua. Yeah. And it was like, you know, so we made okay money. Everybody made a little bit, but it wasn't about the money. For us, it was more about the experiment. So it was an animation project, and it was me doing all the writing with this animation team in Rotterdam called Pitch Parrot. And it was the craziest fucking project. Like, we just went weird. It was X-rated. Like, they were just these little dirty little fucking alien chihuahuas that all they wanted to do was fucking fight and do dumb shit. And, you know, I mean, we did this amazing trailer. But sadly, like many projects, you know, it's just like these guys they had to take their real jobs. There wasn't enough. I mean, it made a little bit of money. The runway sort of ran out. We did as much as we could. We ran the Discord for about a year. And in that process, I mean, I was like deep in it. I was going and talking you know, around the world on different stuff with how NFTs could be utilized in storytelling. And, you know, and the fact that these are keys to enter into worlds. And, you know, and Till and I met right around that time as well. I think it was like right around like 2019, maybe 2020. I think you and I met 2021, something like that. We were in the mix of Chihuahuas. Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man was just starting. I was just working on issue 1. And, you know, we just kind of riffed on like, you know, what is the metaverse? What is this new shit? Like, how far are we ahead of things? Are people going to catch up? You know, like what's going on? And, you know, I've always had a toe dipped in this space. I mean, I've been working on a project called Planet Quest, which is you can buy NFT planets. I'm doing the graphic novel for it, you know, kind of this huge, massive world building storytelling around, you know, ownership in the game. They're building a video game right now. So, I mean, I love the space. I love all of it. And I think that there's so much unique opportunity to build cool shit and have collectibles that also do shit. And, you know, utility. But it's like, that just sounds so lame. Like, it's just like, they need to do cool shit. They need to be integral to the storytelling. Like, you know, I mean, like in a video game or whatever. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. There's other things
Love
I
it.
could ramble on. I'm in the midst of doing a hip hop documentary. Like I said, I'm still in the documentary space. So always fingers in many pots. And I love telling stories. So, and that's where Till and I met. We were like, yo, let's just do some crazy cool art shit. And that's Blank Canvas. So, and why we're here today.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sean is he's a filmmaker out here in the Bay Area.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
For about the past 10 years, and our third co-host Kevin Loader, he actually created the opening title sequence that we for our podcast. And
I love him.
Yeah, he's a really talented director and visual effects artist, and it's been fun utilizing our skills for the podcast.
That's so sick.
Yeah, see, you got your nice like lighting on your, you've got the filmmaker whole setup going on over there. Everything is looking nice and crispy.
Yes, the rim lights.
Yeah, exactly.
I take zero credit for any production value. I just show up and look pretty and say stuff. Hey, let these guys do everything.
You have that immaculate background going on though. So
this is all Sean's background. I'm in his office right now using his background.
Sick.
I got my stuff back in Colorado, but yeah, this isn't even my setup. I'm subbing in for the moment.
I love it.
Good deal.
I just real quick want to give a shout out to Stan. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Stan. And
thanks,
best guest on the channel with infinite experience.
It's awesome.
What's up? Thanks, Stan. Woo.
Thank you, Stan. Really appreciate you. I saw you got a question here. We'll try to get to that question towards the end there. But real quick though, want to move into Blank Canvas and talk a little bit about the current project. And so Blank Canvas. So you guys originally released the comic as an exclusive at Comic-Con as a physical edition. So I'd love to hear about kind of how it went from that physical version at Comic-Con to now expanding it into this greater NFT project.
Yeah, Blank Canvas was an idea that I came up with over maybe 2002 or so, like end of 2002. I just wanted to do like some I had to express what I was going through internally, which was a little bit of like a crazy writer's block. And I was like, let me get over my writer's block by telling a story about an artist getting over writer's block. And that will be my answer to my writers, to solving that. So I started, and then at the same time, I was fascinated by everything going on with AI. I'm an artist for life. I know artists are supposed to be anti-AI. I am not. I am like, this is awesome because I'm creating more art. I'm taking all of my lifetime's like artistic experience and I'm just using a new tool. It's like I have a new paintbrush.
Yeah, and you're using it as a tool, not a crutch.
Yeah, and I can apply creative thinking. The same creative thinking I apply to a canvas, I can apply to AI. So that was like this idea that there's this whole new world of creativity out there that's untouched. Blank canvas. So that's like, we're starting anew. We're starting fresh. We're creating new art that's never been seen before, has never been realized. And we have new tools that are creating things that have never been created before. So that's so exciting to me. This is where I want to create. And I want to tell this story using these tools. I want to be a merge of those two things, of me and everything that I bring, but I'm going to collaborate with this super intelligence of AI. And I'm going to use that to get over my writer's block. And it took me on this amazing journey over the course of maybe like a month. And that's when all of this was created. And I collaborated with my dad on the writing. So the two of us, we're two illustrators. We're over here, writing. And my dad's a great writer. My dad reads a lot. So he's amazing. So that was like the first person. And I'm a decent writer, but I'm not a great writer, I would say. I'll admit, I know where my skills are. And I have development that's needed there. So I tapped in with my dad. Me and him wrote an awesome, fun story. It's very personal, and I love that version. It's the Ashcan version that we basically just had this idea. We wanted to get it out there. And we pressed up 200 copies, and we got them. We found somebody that could connect us with Comics Pro 2023, and we had the book like put in all the bags of all the retailers for Comics Pro. And so a lot of people got their hands on it, and we just gave them away for free. And they started doing pretty well, like on the reselling. Like, you know, they were going for like $100 and $250. And this was all in the following week after Comics Pro. So that was our splash into, you know, let's get started, you know, with me and my partner, Vinny. You know, he was the person, again, the strategy of, you know, Comics Pro, this is what we need to hit. I don't know that, you know, he's the collector, that's his world. So that's really this balance of like me putting in the work over here in the studio, and then Vinny's in the streets. Like, yo, this is where we got to drop our mixtape at, because this is where all the DJs are that are going to play our record, you know? Yeah. So it's that same, you know, and Vinny comes from the mixtape world as well. He's a lawyer for, you know, he's been a lawyer for Future, the rapper Future, and all these different people. So he's really like a music industry guy, but a collector as well. So we both have this music, you know, kind of street hustle attitude. So that got us to Comics Pro. We dropped that. And then we had this opportunity to release our book on our blank canvas books on crypto.com. So we just thought the best way to start with crypto.com was by doing the official release for blank canvas, which we had kind of built a buzz for through the Comics Pro thing. And now we're like, okay, this will be a good splash and kind of an introduction. And it's also our calling card. Like it's a story that speaks to our values as a company. So we thought that would be an appropriate place to start. Except now I was like, how can we up the ante? Okay, let me get a real writer to get in here and take the pen, and let's see what they can do. And I wouldn't trust anybody else with this story, but I knew Ben's set of, you know, like his skill set, his knowledge, and I just knew that he would be able to maneuver this space. And of course, I handed it over to him, and he knew exactly what the fuck to do with it. He was like, take all, you know, strip it of all the words. Like, I don't want any words. I don't want any word bubbles. Just give me the pictures. And, you know, so I delivered it to him just like that, just as he asked for. And again, because I'm just like kind of bowing to his process. I'm like, what, you know, however you want to do this, Ben, like, what do you want? So I shot it over to him, and then I'll let him take it from there if you want to tell him the rest of the.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because, like, you know, when Tilla hit me up, it was like, hey, you know, I got this, because I knew about blank canvas, and, you know, we have been talking. We actually had worked together on another project we were just coming off of. And he told me about it, and I said, yo, I mean, because I love the artwork. Like, I had seen it, and I was like, yo, it's fucking dope. It's super fresh. And I just love the creative process that he had done with it. And I just said, send me the images, because I've never done anything like the Marvel way, where you just get the pictures and you put words to it. You know, like Stan Lee's whole way of putting bubbles on Jack Kirby's art. And I was like, I want to try this. I've never done it, because, like, for Marvel, you got to deliver full script. So, you know, that's just the way it is. I mean, I think the only person who can get away with is Dan Slott. He's the only one who still does the old Marvel, the old Marvel method. And they, you know, they let him go with that. So I said, I wanted to try this. You know, we're doing this crazy art project, and let me just lean into that. And I just gotten a 1942 Remington Rand typewriter. It was this just heavy duty, like World War II, like portable, like it had the original case, probably was, you know, in the trenches somewhere, who knows? And it just had story to it. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to write this on this, you know, MacBook Air I've got, you know, I want to write this on something that's got like some weight. This story has weight. This artwork has weight. Tilla has poured his heart and soul into this, and I want to do the same thing. So it was during February when it was just pouring rain. Like, LA was just like in this torrential downpour, and just like the streets were flooding. You couldn't go anywhere. and I just gotten like a small stack of paper, like the guy when I bought the typewriter. So I just had enough paper to start writing this thing. And that's what happened. I just put on some Sonny Rollins, and you'll see that in the book. Like I was like channeling that. And I hadn't really looked at every page, like seriously. I looked at it overall. I kind of had a feel of what the art was. And it was funny too, because like the last, I think 5 pages were not in the drive. So I ended up finishing it. Tilla was like, yo, there's 5 more pages. I was like, really? I thought we were ending on a hanger right now where the monster comes in and I'm like, okay, book 2, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's like, you know, traditional, like, here comes Ghost Rider type shit. Like, you know, let's hang you. So, but it was an amazing experience because as I was writing it, because I remember sitting down, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write the first page on my typewriter and then I'll flip over to, you know, writing it on the computer because then it'll just be easier. I can just, you know, Tilla and we can make changes and whatever. But I wrote that first page and it never changed. Like what you read is what I typed. Like it was straight up stream of consciousness looking at.
Oh, there it is.
I've got the manuscript here.
Yeah. And talk about NFT. There is one actual typed version of it, and Tilla has a Xerox copy of that one. So, and then I took a bunch of pictures of it. So,
I wasn't even mad at the end of the day that I had to retype everything because he couldn't just send me like an email with the whole script. It was like, here's it typed out. Go ahead and get the copy. So like I jumped in But I'm gonna drop in the chat a link to a video of this experience. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, or maybe you did. Is that what you guys posted? Did you see the video with Ben going crazy,
typing on the typewriter?
No, I don't think I saw that video.
I just dropped it
pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat if you want to bring it up. But it kind of we made a promo trailer to kind of illustrate some of what Ben is describing here.
You know, and the other thing too, I mean, when you actually see it, because I took obviously photos of it to send to Tilla. I mean, I really made sure not to overwrite. I did not want to cover up. You know, as a writer, I always want to respect the artist in every way I can. And you know, I wanted to make sure that everything I was doing. You know, I'm a bass player. As a you know, it's for fun.
I am too.
But
I also play bass.
Amazing.
Oh,
well,
high
five bass players.
Boom.
If you're ever in LA, we've got a jam that we do every twice a month. Oh, here it is. Here we can. So this is me being a bass player on my typewriter. I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, this is me being like, "What's up, Tilla? Oh yeah, I just got a new tool in my toolbox or toolkit. There it is. There's the typewriter." So yeah, I mean, this was such a fun experience for me as a writer to just feel the freaking weight of the key slapping on. And putting that ink on the paper. It was just like, dude, I felt like an artist in that way. Like as a writer, you know, unless you're writing handwritten, but like, here we go. This is me losing my mind. You know.
It's so
this is such a good promo.
She's a third co-host. He actually has a keyboard that feels like a typewriter when you type.
I have one of those too.
It's so rewarding. So I know exactly.
It's a quirky writer.
Yeah, it's so rewarding. Typing on that thing.
Yeah, I have the quirky writer on my big computer, but the typewriter, when it slaps the freaking metal arm onto the page, you're just like talking about like collecting like VHS. So I bought this typewriter from a typewriter collector in downtown LA. This guy Aaron, and Aaron was like, he had it sitting there as the demo typewriter, and I walked in and I go, let me try that. I walked around, I tried all these different ones, and I was like, I love our ending right there. The Predator grip.
Always.
And
so
I
good.
mean, you know, it spoke to me, and I was like, that one, how much is that? He was like $200, and I'm like, done. I was like, done. I'm taking it. Let's go. Here, Venmo, bing bang, I'm out.
Yep.
and it didn't wait very long to get used because it was the inspiration for this incredible project that Tilla has brought to life.
See, and again, this is what I meant, like when I said that Ben knew exactly what to do. Like he went out, like I gave him this book, and I was like, you know, it's this book about a canvas transporting an artist to another world. So he went out and he got his instrument, which was a typewriter. And then that typewriter, you know, was able to bring out of him this story that transported us to a very unique place. So that's really an integral part of this story. And not many people would get that. They wouldn't know to go that distance. So I recognize that in Ben, that, you know, he sees this, he sees the symbols, he sees the metaphors, and he understands the journey. And I'm just so grateful that he was willing to go on it with me. And he got us through safely, because, you know,
I mean, thank you for trusting me. I know this is your baby. And well, you know what was cool about it? I know I mentioned earlier collecting tarot cards. I mean, tarot has been such a big part of my storytelling in my life. Even in Daredevil and Echo, I worked in the Seven of Cups. A lot of times, like, and very specifically, I sent it over to Phil Noto and was like, this is what I want this scene to look like. And these are the 7 cups that Matt Murdock has to face in this other dimension. But, you know, I always work it in because really, you know, if you know tarot as a sort of symbolic modular storytelling, it is the fool's journey. Well, Joseph Campbell very much lifted the fool's journey and this sort of monomyth and brought it into that hero's journey, the hero with 1,000 faces. And, you know, all of the symbols, when the fool, the zero, begins on the journey. And here's a crazy little thing. So obviously Matt, TillaVision, Pentilla, Matt is also Lamont. Lamont is the fool. The fool in Marseille deck. It says at the bottom in the Marseille deck, Lamont. Well, I just jammed it together. And the name of our character is Lamont or Lamad or however you want to say it. The fool. This is the fool's journey. The fool is the one who goes through, takes the first step into the blank canvas and ends up facing all of these different sort of archetypes on this journey and learns that the egg is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Or did they happen at the same time? This idea of, you know, the universe, did the Big Bang really begin everything? Or was there something before the Big Bang, as I think Penrose likes to talk about? You know, and we bring in all these sort of ideas of you know, science and literature and archetypes and magic and, you know, everything. And until it gave me an incredible place to just be the bass player, connect the rhythm to the, you know, to the melody. Yep. And give it that rhythm and know when to put in and when to take out, and when to let you as the reader really unpack it in how you want to unpack it. And I think that's how I personally like to write, where it's really about, you know, giving the reader an opportunity to be a part of the journey and be a part of the artistry. Because I think so often, you know, we get, and it's very easy as a writer or an artist or anyone to become very expositional. And I think in a lot of ways, you know, in comics, a lot of times you have to be expositional because people are getting dropped into, you know, a Spider-Man story or you know, there's like, you kind of have to catch them up. And in this, the freedom that we had to be able to just like go wherever we wanted to and not worry about that sort of stuff. I mean, it was, so thank you. Tilla, you gave me a gift and I gave it right back, and I can't wait for people to read this because I really hope, you know, that it gives people an opportunity to, you know, kind of take their own journey and get inspired, you know, because it is a very inspirational book.
That was, yeah, that was the point that we wanted, is just every day is a new blank canvas for you to just go ahead and paint your world. You know, I know maybe it sounds cliche or corny or whatever, but I think we all need that reminder. And, you know, especially in comic books, you know, just to think fresh, you know, new ideas.
Love it, man. Such an incredible story. I mean, both of you guys, just like stories in general, and then the story behind this book and this project specifically is so cool. But yeah, would love for, you know, our viewers and listeners to get a chance to read it. So could you walk us through a little bit, you know, just like this NFT drop? So what are kind of like the 4 different NFTs in the collection, and, you know, what do they each signify? And, you know, I understand there's also a physical comic that can be claimed to this as well. So kind of what are all the mechanics and how does it work?
Okay. Well, first off, can I take you to, on another tab, the website is blankcanvascomic.com. That's where the journey starts. So blankcanvascomic.com. And this is a website that we created specifically for this drop. and it's a portal to our NFT collection. So this is
the website is so cool, by the way. I was checking it out before and playing around and finding all the Easter eggs and everything. And
did you find the menu at the bottom right hand corner there?
I don't know if I got that far.
So the menu. So go ahead and click the little black box at the bottom right hand corner. That's the menu, and you'll see where it says BC on all these different little boxes there. Those are different items that you can find. So if you see, like, say the pulsating cloud there, if you click on the pulsating cloud, it says hidden item found up in the upper left hand. If you scroll down in the menu on the right now, you'll see that you found an object in the scavenger hunt. Yeah. So there's always, cool. That's how you can keep track. And then also in the first tab in the menu there's two tabs. The first tab on the left up,
next to the 1 out of 17, just to the left of that. Just to the left of that.
There you go. Yeah. So there's there's a music song playlist. We made an album using all of the words from the comic book. So as you're reading the comic, you can hear the words sang to you in the form of song. And we did that utilizing AI to create songs using the actual lyrics from the book. So you have this soundtrack that you can listen to while you're kind of surfing the website here. You can close your menu now, but just so you know, you've got those little fun ways to follow along as you're kind of clicking through. And the website itself is a comic that like has never been seen before. It's a 360-degree comic. If you want to close the menu real quick, I know it's pretty cool, but yeah, close the menu. Oh, in the bottom right-hand corner, if you just
the black button at the bottom right again.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So the story follows from the canvas on the left. You'll follow him walk in a circle, essentially around you. So he walks through that doorway on the right, and you kind of see him in the middle of the field there. And then there he is. He turns completely white, and he's got like the scarf still around his neck. And if you keep scrolling to your right, you'll see him come out of the door. Oh, keep scrolling right there. Oh yeah. And you can stop along the way and kind of click on things, but yeah, you see him exit the door right there on the right, the bottom right there. And so yeah, it's meant to be a comic panel that goes on forever. It goes on around you, and there's all these different things that you can click on along the way. And I'm going to continue adding to this, and soon you'll be able to jump out into other rooms, so you'll be able to go through different doorways, and the journey will continue. But this alone is a standalone piece of artwork that I just wanted to draw some attention to, because again, I think that it is, I've never seen a comic panel made in 360 degrees like this, and that tells a story that links out to all these different things. That was inspired by some of Ben's work. I saw him do some creative paneling in the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which, and I've also brought up, me and Ben really love the book Promethea, and there's some amazing panels, very creative paneling in there. And there's one that's a figure 8 that kind of goes forever. It's a 2-page spread. So I wanted to do something as like, how can I do something creative that hasn't been done before using visual storytelling and kind of like panel setups that can only be told in comics. That's one thing that Alan Moore says, is he says that comics can't be translated from comic book to film because there's certain things that you can do on paper that you can't do you can't do it in film. It's just, right. Yeah. So I tried to apply that same thing. Like, what can't you do? Well, you can't do a 360-degree entire go around. But anyway, so this is the portal for our NFT collection. If you go pan to your right, maybe I want to take us to a clickable. Actually, yeah. Keep going to your right. 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 Almost there. Keep going. And then underneath that white frame door, go down. And there's kind of like an orb. If you keep going down, look almost at your feet. Oh yeah, there it is. It's a pulsating orb. Right. There you go. So this is one of the NFTs right here. If you scroll down a little bit, I'm sorry, keep that open, but scroll down. Yeah. You'll see the link, Big Idea NFT. If you click that, that clicks through to the NFT page, just so you can see how the actual website connects to, you'll find these different Easter eggs and they connect to the actual NFTs. But this is one of the two NFTs from the collection that you need to own to get your physical copy of Blank Canvas. So there's this NFT, the Big Idea NFT, and the Studio NFT. And if you want to go to the main collection right now, I know you've got that tab open. Yeah, so there's the Studio, Blank Canvas Studio, and Big Idea. If you own those two NFTs, you'll get the physical book. If you buy one of any of the 4 other NFTs, you'll get a digital copy. So no matter which one you buy, you're going to get the story. It's either going to just come in digital, or buy the 2 NFTs and you will get the physical book. And we haven't worked out the production behind it. I mean, we've produced books before and printed them, but I'm hoping that they're going to get routed through me so I can make sure all the books are signed. And,
That's awesome.
Me and Ben are just an earshot away from each other. So if I'm signing them, I'll pull up on him and see if I can get him to sign them too. So
I'll sign them. No, I love it. I want to give our fans what they want. If you go out your way, we'll go out our way. Of course, it's real important for us. Making sure our audience.
So on those 2 copies or those 2 different NFTs, and you'll get the copy of the book. And it's going to be a very limited run. I told you the numbers that the OG version was going for, and I'm thinking that this is going to be a sought after book, especially for as Blank Canvas grows. This is our our Genesis book, the official release of our Genesis book. So
yeah, there's only 100, right? I mean, this is even a smaller print run than the other print run.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's even smaller. It's very small batch. This is like some Pappy. What is that? Pappy Van Winkle.
Pappy Van Winkle. Yeah. 27.
Yeah. Right. It's a Pappy Van Winkle.
$400 a pour.
Right. A pour. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
So this is a steal compared to that.
Yeah, pretty much. Only for $105. You will get the 2 NFTs that are limited, as well as a Pappy Van Winkle comic book.
And you'll be able to enjoy this over and over again. The Pappy Van Winkle you only get to enjoy once. Maybe a second time if you have a big night, but probably not as much enjoyment on the second one.
Oh man.
But we're very excited to get this first one out. We've got other releases planned, and we released a book earlier or last year called AI for Prez. Maybe you see that come up on the Blank Canvas page. We've got a couple other titles we're working on. Me and B are talking about some stuff. So we're just keeping this train moving because we see the opportunity for storytelling and this style of comics. And with the massive platform and reach of crypto.com, it's just a great place to promote crypto comics.
Yeah, 100%. Well, are there plans for, I guess, an issue number 2? Can we expect that at some point in the future?
Ben has expressed interest. So, we are definitely, we've been chopping up some ideas, and, awesome. Ben told me he really liked the process of the first one, and to just let's do something similar. So I've been cooking up some stuff, and one of these days out of nowhere, I'm just going to be sending him a PDF, back to the canvas, go for it. Bring him back to that world.
I mean, the fun thing is when we can discover, right? As a writer, one of my favorite things is being able to sit down and just find the story. I'm a ploncer. I like to run by the seat of my pants, but also a little bit of plot. I like to know sort of where I'm going, but then I'm all right, let's go. And I feel, when we can sit down and surprise ourselves in the process, then that is really a good sign that the audience is also going to feel something similar, and I think that's really a big thing. I mean, as someone who plays music live out, and for me, it's we have a jam crew, right? So 3 times a month, we get together and we just play at the Rainbow Bar and then over at Universal Bar and Grill. And for me, it's been one of those really incredible experiences as a writer, because as a writer, you're sitting there in your own world and you don't get to experience what the audience feels. And when you do live anything, and especially as a bass player, as you probably know, it's like when you take bass out, people feel it, and when you put it back in, they feel it. And I think that's one of the key elements is how do we connect to that audience? And Till and I are so much about our audience. You know, it's like really making sure, you know, because we're our audience. I mean, you guys are you're the audience, crypto and comics. Like, we care about the audience, and that matters to us because we're our own audience. And we're like, yo, if we're not excited, if we're not feeling this is dope and fresh and interesting, or we're laughing, nobody else is going to give a fuck. So we better be doing it right.
I never put that together. Like, I never even thought about what you just said until, and it makes total sense now, because I don't play bass and I don't really play an instrument, but I DJ. So I DJ'd throughout all my 20s. Like, for 15 years I was a DJ. So it was like, yeah, that is what I'm doing, is like this or like playing for the room. You know, you want to tell a story that people in the room enjoy, you know? So it is kind of like being a DJ or being a bass player and finding the pocket with the rest of the group. And for me, you know, coming from a production background, music production, you know, I recognize talents and skills in artists, and I know how to play into those. And I also know how to stoke them a little bit. You know, like they would say as a music producer, like sometimes you kind of want to, like, I didn't do this to Ben at all, but like there's the trick where you like kind of piss the artist off because you want a better performance out of them. And then, so you kind of like,
you know, more emotion into
it. You're like, you normally spit fire, but today, I don't know, maybe you want to go get some coffee or something, you know? and then like, they're like, oh, I'll show him. And then you get like this insane, and you're like, that was the one I needed. Thanks. But that's just kind of knowing. But with Ben, I was like, he was like, take the word bubbles out. I didn't question. I was like, I know where he's going. You know, I trust him. Push that over to him. So I knew that, you know, there's that trust, and you have to get to know an artist a little bit to find out if you have that synergy, that if you get in the studio, you're going to make some fire. So there is a lot of skills beyond just being an artist here. There's being a producer, being a DJ, being a player, a music player, to understand the music and the rhythm of how words move. So this is the culmination of all, like, a lifetime of creating that it takes to make something like this.
Well, and I think, you know, being an audience member, you know, when I'm working with Marvel, like, I'm a Marvel fan first. You know, I'm getting to sit there and write Peter Parker dialogue. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm writing Peter Parker dialogue that I would want to be interested in here, that I would want to read. When I read it back, I want to be hype on it. Like, I want to be going, yo, that's how I would, like, as an audience member, that's why I care about Daredevil. That's why I care about Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, I wanted to do more with. Like, I had fun with him in the Kashala Ghost Rider, you know, Spirit Rider we had done. But it was hard to kind of handle him. Like, he's one of those guys, I was just like, oh, you just have so much you want to do with Ghost Rider. But a lot of times he's like in this sort of box because he's servicing the story for the other cat. I'm like, I hate using Ghost Rider as supporting. So one day I hope I get to like do a Ghost Rider thing, but who knows? We'll see. But it's that thing of like, as an audience, right? Like, you want to be hype on those characters, that world. And I think that's how Till and I work, you know, on this project and on others.
Dude, when you know, Ben was saying he writes, you know, from his, you know, for himself sometimes or whatever, as he was just mentioning, as he put that. But I don't think that's any more present as it is in the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where he brought Spider-Man to the West Coast, and he is out here in California. Peter Parker's in California, like cruising the streets that me and Ben are cruising. And I'm reading that, you know, just like, I feel like this is in my backyard, which it was, but it was just so personalized.
It literally was.
Pasadena. Yeah. Well, I was just like, I'm reading this at the perfect time. Like, not everybody's gonna get it, but like, if you're out here and you read this book, like you read the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and you're like, oh man, that's Santa Monica Pier right there, and that's, you know, all these
Malibu, and that's like downtown LA. I mean, I put him in the Rose Bowl. Like, Spider-Man ends up at the freaking stadium. Dude, where he's like he pops out in the Rose Bowl and he's like, what? Where the hell am I? And these security guards come at him and they turn into a giant monster and he's got to fight them. I mean, that was, you know, for us, you know, Taboo is also a Pasadena guy. And, you know, I live, you know, in the Valley as well. And, you know, it's important to it's important to write, they always say write what you know, but even more so, it's like write what you care about. I mean, I also lived in New York, and I lived pretty close to Hell's Kitchen. I lived on the West Side. So when I was writing the Daredevil stuff, I was like, yeah, I know this area. I know these streets. Yeah. They've changed a lot since I've lived there, which was like 20 plus years ago. But, it's that thing of like, right where you feel you're going to get the most out of your characters and out of that world. But also, we never had Spider-Man. As Tilla was saying, we've never had Spider-Man on the West Coast, not in that way. So, I mean, that was what was cool. It's like, I always find, hey, you get this one opportunity. You may never get it again. Do everything you can to make it as special and as unique as it possibly can. So when people get this book, it stands out in their mind. They go, oh, wow, Spider-Man, he sticks his claws into Hulk's head. He chops off Thor's arm. Oh, he's in LA. Like all those kinds of moments. And that was what was so cool working with Tab and Juan Ferreira, on that book in particular. But I mean, that was what was so dope with working with Tilla on this book was like, Tilla, I saw his heart and soul in this story. And my goal was, how do I bring that even more? Like, how do I illuminate that and give an audience that same feeling as we both have on this journey? And I think that's really been the key to this story. So I can't wait for people to read this. I really think everyone's going to get a kick out of it.
Well, that's awesome, guys. I thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, I'm personally so excited to read the book, especially after hearing the whole background and everything, that you guys had to say about it. So we have the link to the drop right here in the comments, but we also have it down below in the description. Please, please, please go check it out. Support these awesome artists building amazing things in the space. Yeah, I'm kind of just blown away by both of you and everything you guys have accomplished and what you guys are continuing to accomplish and build. So thank you for being such awesome artists and creators in the space and keep doing what you're doing.
And thank you guys for having us on this platform. We have a mission of bringing together people from, traditional comic book world and bringing them into this crypto space and being less afraid of NFTs and crypto and seeing the empowerment there and, and getting excited about it. And, it's a whole new landscape for storytelling. And again, a blank canvas, and we're here to tell new stories in new ways. And thank you guys for your platform for shining light on projects like ours. And we hope to continue sitting down in the future for more releases.
100%. 100%.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
And then a quick plug. We have a newsletter. So it's comicsandcrypto.io/newsletter. Go to the link. We have a bi-weekly newsletter we put out every other Thursday, basically just cover all the exciting things going on in the digital and physical collectibles markets. So give that a subscribe. By being subscribed to that, you'll automatically be entered into future giveaways that we do for all of our newsletter subscribers, which is super exciting. We just gave away a couple graded Marvel cards for our last couple giveaways. So we have a couple other cool things coming up. So look out for that and subscribe.
Amazing.
Well, sweet. Gentlemen, this has been an awesome conversation and looking forward to the next one. Check out Black Canvas. Check it out.
Thank you guys so much. Spencer, Sean, thanks so much.
Thank you, Spencer, Sean. Black Canvas, boys.
See you guys.